Hey guys, I'm going to be covering a game between myself and mysticjim. You may know him as 0AD Newbie Rush. He's a really good friend of mine, and yeah, we actually got to play our first game against one another when I saw him in the lobby earlier. So I was super excited about that. We were playing a 1 versus 1 on a small mainland map. And he's playing as the Ptolemies, whereas I'm playing as as my usual, the Cushites. So I'm just gonna speed this up a little bit. For my start, I sent all of my initial citizens over to the wood line, near not the wood line, but the tree surrounding the civic center to collect that. Whereas I sent the first 10 women that I trained out to collect berries. And it looks like I'm grabbing the berry upgrade a little bit late in the game. But I have my priest out exploring the area immediately surrounding the civic center. And it looks like I'm finally grabbing that berry upgrade. My cat finally hopped off me, which is good because it's actually really warm outside today, and she was raising my body temperature a little bit too much for my personal level of comfort. But yeah, it looks like Jim is up to 25 pop. I'm at 32. He did decide to grab the berry upgrade as well, but he does not have the extra apple trees surrounding his civ center that I have. He built his first storehouse over here by this wood line to collect these trees, and he's on to building his first barracks over here, kind of close to the minerals, which is where I like to build it, but I tend to build mine much later in the game. And he's got 2 women who seem to be designated house builders, who did forget to drop off the little bit of wood they were carrying, and I think he's having them do that right now, or he's sending them back to wood cutting. He has his initial farmstead right over here, and he's building his initial couple of farms around that farmstead. I'm also building my initial farms, but I do have some idle women over here, which is a big no-no. They just finished the berries, but I'm now sending them over to build another farmstead right between these 2 apple trees to keep collecting wood. And I have some of my citizens over here on this wood line. I have them stop collecting wood for a moment to build a house. And I also started a secondary wood line right up here. And I still have a couple citizens. I'm not sure why, but they're still collecting the wood from these trees around the civic center. It looks like Jim has 1 extra camel that he's using to collect hunt from around the base. I sent my cab exploring around the back of his civic center to kind of see what was going on over here, but he killed that one really quickly with this group of soldiers who are gathering wood over in this corner. Both of us are keeping up really well with our house building. Neither of us have been housed for more than a few seconds, but I'm leading him up in terms of population by about 11. I would say he could use a couple more citizens on food to fill up these farms, which he's slowly doing little by little, but I personally would have pulled a couple off of the wood lines when I saw this big, discrepancy between food and wood. Because yeah, he has so many people on wood, which by the way, they could definitely build another storehouse right here so they don't have to walk this long distance, which is something that I always bring up. It's kind of like a go-to bit of commentary that I have. It's a bit of a nitpick, but you know, it is what it is. So it looks like my farms are coming along really well. Alright, so I'm building my first barracks, my first 2 barracks right over here, so that when these soldiers hop out, they can immediately start collecting mineral resources. And I have 10 farms so far, and 40 women, so I have 20 coming out. I meant to send send 10 of these over to occupy these 2 farms actually, but I realized I think that I'm floating so much food that it would probably be better to just send these 20 straight out to collect wood. And some of them are building some houses. I think I did get I didn't get the fertility festival upgrade in this game, so I'm not producing women from houses. Jim's coming along really well in terms of his development. He's definitely keeping the gap between our populations pretty small. Like, it's not really that much higher than 10. It looks like he has soldiers coming out of the barracks just one at a time at the moment. And he's starting up another wood line over here with this storehouse. He has moved on to mineral resources, which I have as well. But I believe one of these barracks I'm utilizing both barracks to send men onto the mineral resources. And I'm sure at some point I'm going to pull 10 women off of one of these wood lines to occupy these farms, but as it is, my food production is still so much higher than my wood production. So I think what I decided to do at some point was, trade 1,000 food for wood to kind of equalize that. It looks like Jim was just scouting around my base with one of his camel archers. And I built my Noba village over here, and I am doing pretty well in terms of metal production, so I'm training skirmishers and macemen 5 at a time out of those Nova villages, and I'm utilizing them as my designated builders to build some forges and some houses over here. And I think at some point soon I'm going to try to do an expansion somewhere out in this area between these 2 metal mines to try to claim those. Yeah, I just sent out all of my miners, and I'm resupplying those mines with archers from the Civic Center and the barracks. But I'm sending these guys out here to build a Civic Center kind of right between these 2. This is a pretty large metal mine. This is a smaller one. But that was kind of the spot on the map that had the most metal. So I think claiming that is going to be really vital later in this game. I also got this stone over here and this stone mine, but those are less important for the way that I play. It looks like Jim has gotten himself housed at 185, and he has a bunch of new house foundations set over here, but just as he set those down, my area of influence kind of grew because of this new civic center, so he's now going to be building those houses right inside of my territory. So I saw that, and I think I decided to, build a defense tower right over here to kind of, provide defense for this area. And then I kind of momentarily lost control of these skirmishers who went over to attack one of his houses, and then the same thing happened again. I think I may lose these guys. Yeah, they're trying to claim this house here, which strategically speaking isn't that important. I think I just forgot to set them on to stand ground while they were building this stone tower. But in the meantime, I'm having 10 stables be built over by this second civic center, so that when the fighting starts, they can supply like a steady stream of cavalry out to fight when he starts to take out some of my soldiers. I am getting my upgrades, but wow, that's crazy. It looks like he already has all of his military upgrades, which was really well played on his part. I still only have about half of mine, but I am researching. I'm researching the cavalry-related upgrades from the couple of stables that I built, and he is researching champion infantry so he could train those from the barracks, and I'm researching champion cavalry so I can train my champion cav from the stables. And it looks like the fighting is going to start very soon. Okay, so he sent a ram around the side here to try and attack my buildings. But I think one mistake that he made during this game was he should have sent his infantry at the very same time as his rams, because I was able to almost completely take this ram out before any of his infantry even arrived to back those rams up. So the fighting begins. He also should have sent probably all of his infantry at the same time, because it was really easy for me to take out this small group of infantry.
Yeah, see?
If he had sent everybody at once, it could have gone very different, because our population discrepancy was not that large, and in terms of military upgrades, he's still well ahead of me. So I think if he had sent everyone at the same time, he definitely could have taken me out, because I still have so many of my infantry over here by this metal mine. Some of them are idle, and over here as well. So yeah, and I think I also have some idols over here by this metal mine who could have joined in the fight. But as it is, him sending this slow trickle of infantry into the fight was his biggest mistake in this game, because I was able to kind of get this larger group together and kind of take out his groups of infantry one by one as they came into the fight. And as he takes out my soldiers, I'm resupplying them with groups of 2 cavalry at a time. I got the cavalry batch training upgrade, so as long as I'm training batches of 2 or more, I'm getting a bonus in terms of how long it takes them to pop out. So they're coming out at a really fast clip and taking out the infantry that he's sending into the fight. What I didn't notice was this, I might have noticed this other group of rams that he sent around the side to try to take out my stables, which I believe they succeeded in taking out at least 2 of them. Or no, they haven't managed to take any out yet, but they're definitely going to get this one, for sure. So he sends one over to the civic center and tries to continue taking out the stables with this group, while I fight his infantry up here. Let's see. He definitely has, well, these guys are cutting wood. It looks like he's sending, yeah, he could have sent these 23 into the fight as well. He definitely should have just sent everybody in at once, because with the level of military upgrades that he had, he definitely could have taken out the group of infantry that I had initially over here. And what I actually did not notice at all was this huge group of infantry that he sent down over here to take out, to try to take me out from this angle. I did have a pretty large group of idle infantry over here, which were able to kind of start fighting them, but he definitely starts winning this fight before I send the rest of my people down to join in. So at this point, I begin training champion cavalry out of the stables, and they're coming in to join the fight as well. And I pulled these guys off of the metal mine, and oh geez, I have so many idols over here that I could have sent into the fight. That was a mistake. And he's almost beginning to catch up in terms of the kill-death ratio. But once these champion cav come join into the fight, that kind of turns the tide again. So I took out pretty much all of his infantry from this area, and I think at this point he's trying to rebuild and regroup. He's got a lot of infantry over here gathering wood. Although, if you notice, he has 18k wood, so I think he could have definitely done with devoting more of them to either join in the fight immediately after training them, or set them to gather minerals so he would be able to train champions to join into the fight. But I ended up taking out these couple of rams that he had by his arsenal, and then I ended up taking his arsenal as well. Yeah, he definitely could have traded a lot of this wood out for metal and begun training champions to have stronger infantry to fight. And he could have just devoted a lot of these woodcutters to fighting, because he really didn't need any extra wood that late in the game. I'm sure a lot of his infantry during that main beginning part of the fight were collecting wood. And he could have pretty much pulled everyone except for maybe like 5 people to get that steady trickle of wood in. And yeah, I think it would have gone a lot different. I was really surprised that I won this game, because he's definitely a good player. Like, judging by his commentary, his commentary is so much better than mine. He's like a fantastic 0AD YouTuber. And I think we were talking about how he more is accustomed to playing 200 pop games. And I think if we had played a 200 pop game, it would have gone really different, because I build so many women at the beginning, and then they end up taking up such a huge chunk of my population that that during 200 pop games, I usually end up like entering the battle with like a group of like 60 infantry or less. And we talked about how later we're going to play a 250 pop game to kind of even the stakes a little bit. But yeah, he resigned at this point, so let's take a look at the summary. His economy was actually fantastic, which is unsurprising because he had gathered so much wood throughout the game. And I think if he had put more of those wood gathering units towards fighting, or put more of those wood gathering units towards gathering mineral resources, particularly metal, he could have trained a lot more champions, because he had all of the upgrades. So his units were really strong, but I think the way he spread them out was the reason that I was able to win this game. Hey guys, so this was another game that I played this morning against another one of my favorite 0AD YouTubers, Tom 0AD. It's crazy because I got to play them both within the span of like 1 hour. And Tom's been I used to binge watch Tom 0AD's YouTube videos for like a lot of last year, before I was actually able to play multiplayer 0AD games. So I would always watch his videos, and pretty much everything I know about 0AD I learned from Tom. And I got to play against him and mysticjim, my favorite 0AD YouTuber now, who I always get to talk to via email, and he's become like a good friend of mine. So yeah, it was kind of crazy. I was like kind of fangirling out this morning when I got to see both of them and play them in the lobby. So this is my game against Tom. I'm playing as the Cushite, and he is playing as the Seleucids, which is a cool choice. So Tom has started with his traditional start, sent his most of his soldiers to the wood, plus his first 3 women, and sent the rest of the women over to the berries. He seems to have decided not to grab the berry upgrade, or maybe he just hasn't gotten it yet. Whereas over for me, I have also not yet gotten the berry upgrade, but I definitely do decide to grab that. Yeah, right here. My cav is gathering the chickens, and I'm using these women to clear the trees directly surrounding the Civic Center, while the rest of my initial woodcutters have built a storehouse over by this wood line where they're collecting wood. Tom is also building his first storehouse over by this wood line. He is crazy when it comes to booming his population. He's already up to 37 in 2 minutes and 40 seconds, and he's building his first farm. He's also building a house over here to stop himself from getting housed. So I have pulled ahead of him in terms of population at this point, but he's pulled right back ahead at 43 out of 50. He's building his second farm. He's finishing off these trees around the Civic Center, and then I'm sure he's going to resume with this wood line. Let's see. I am building houses in proximity to this wood line, and just finishing out these trees, and I've begun building farms also around my farmstead over here. So usually when the women finish with the berries, since the farmstead's right there anyway, I start building the farms directly in proximity to where those berries were to save those women the extra time that it would take to walk to the Civic Center and build farms around there. So I'm on to 6 farms with 31 women farming, or I guess one of them is gathering wood. I'm building my 7th farm right here, and yeah, it looks like I'm floating a little bit of wood, so I'm definitely trying to focus on building those extra farms to get my food up towards there. And then I guess I just noticed that there was this extra apple tree over here, just above my Civic Center. So I sent some women to build a farmstead over there, which I'm sure I will utilize later in the game to build farms around. So Tom is 11 population ahead of me. His boom is just crazy. Now he's 12 ahead of me. He's up to 70 and I'm at 58. And he sent his singular cav over to attack my wood line, but I chased him off. He did manage to get 1 kill in before I was able to do that though. And he caused some idle time because I think I rang the bell not realizing it was just 1 cav. So he's housed at 79, but I'm sure that is not going to last for long. But he's giving me a little bit of time to catch up, but it looks like I'm not able to take advantage of that. Let's check his balance. He's got 35 women on 7 farms, just the right amount. And then he's got 44 people on wood, so a really good wood-food balance. And he is already well on to phase 2. I'm not even close yet, and he's up to 90 population. And I have a few women building houses to try to catch me up, but he's already 18 population ahead of me, which is fantastic. Now 20, and I've gotten myself housed for just a brief moment there. And I'm building my first barracks. He is building his second barracks right now. Out of the first one, he's training pikemen 6 at a time, or spearmen 6 at a time, and he's diversifying his wood lines. He's building a second storehouse right over here. He's got 7 farms still with 35 women, and I have 10 farms now with, oh, sorry. 10 farms with 50 women, so my food production is a little bit ahead of his, and it's kind of unnecessarily so because it looks like I'm floating a little bit of food right now. He is 22 pop ahead of me right now, which is very impressive, but I have caught up in terms of the phases. I'm up to phase 2. And I am sending people from my barracks now and my civic center, building 10 archers at a time to go collect mineral resources. And I'm building my first blacksmith, or my first forge, I should say. Has Has he built a blacksmith yet? Let's see. Those are economic buildings, defensive buildings. What does... Military buildings. Okay, so we each have one forge. He has one more barracks than I do, though. And he is training soldiers out of both of those barracks very quickly. It looks like he does not elect to utilize the, what's that shit called? He doesn't utilize the auto train from the barracks, which I find that a lot of players who used to play 0AD before that feature was added a lot in Alpha 23 decided not to use the auto queue. I definitely utilize it. I think it's just better to use it, but I definitely respect players who decide not to. And he's already doing his expansion. He's building a military colony right out in the middle. He's claiming both of these metal mines. And I built my Nova village, and I'm training skirmishers and macemen 3 at a time, so they can help with building stuff. And I've noticed that I'm definitely hurting for wood right now. I think I built a little bit, I hurried too much on my farms. I have 11 of them, and I definitely could have sent some of those women to the wood lines. So I'm doing something which is atypical, which I'm using a lot of my my military units on a wood line to kind of catch up in terms of wood. Normally, if my wood and my food collection were more balanced, I would have pretty much all of my military units collecting stone and metal at this point in the game, and my women would be taking care of the wood and the food. But yeah, as it is, I have a lot of units over on a wood line, which for me means I kind of screwed up. And it looks like Tom sent some people in to try to fight, and I saw kind of the size of that that group of infantry, and I figured that I had the numbers. But my problem is I'm not far enough into the game where I started training melee units. Well, I just recently started training swordsmen and macemen, but the vast majority of my units are archers. So I kind of tried to chase him past the range of my loaded up defense tower to kind of, so he would kind of take fire from that while my units kind of ran away. But it looks like we're pretty... I actually have more units than him. Let's check out his techs. But he is ahead of me. He has both of the initial offensive military techs, and he has way more infantry units than I do. So at this point, he's gotten way more kills than I have. So at this point he retreats, which he could have probably pushed there and actually won that battle. But I had these units finish building this pyramid, which is a Kushite building that allows you to collect resources at a much faster rate within its range. And then I sent most of these units on to collect mineral resources. Because I'm no longer hurting for wood. But it looks like I just traded a bunch of food and wood for metal. But I let the auto queue on my mercenary camp kind of run out. So I'm not utilizing that metal like I could be training mercenaries. But I believe I got all that extra metal so that I could snag the upgrades from my 2 forges right now, which I am not doing. But what I did decide to do was start building stables, because I kind of figured, normally I would do an expansion around this time, but I figured since he has already kind of expanded into this territory, and since I'm not really running, and since my metal mine and my stone mine aren't really running out yet, and I have all this extra metal over here, I decided I could kind of forego the expansion and just start building stables to try to reinforce against him. But as it is, during that attack, my production kind of really slowed down, and he was able to pull way ahead in terms of population. He also has 20 less women than me, and he has 135 infantry and 8 cavalry, whereas I only have 80 infantry, 84 now, and 0 cavalry. So if we were to fight right now, as long as he played it okay and sent enough units in, he would definitely be able to take me down pretty easily. But I'm trying to change that by building all of these stables so I can kind of reinforce really quickly and turn the tide of whatever battle we were going to get into. But I noticed that he started training catapults, and he was kind of hitting me with those. So I kind of freaked out, and I sent a bunch of infantry in to kind of take out the catapults. But I believe what happens is that kind of draws him into a full-scale battle. Also, I have archers attacking the catapults, which is kind of pointless, I believe. I think you kind of need that crush damage, or at least hack damage to take out catapults. And the pierce damage done by the archers isn't really going to do very much. So I do switch the archers to attack his infantry, but he kind of pulls enough units into this battle that, yeah, his kill-death ratio is just, it keeps increasing. So that means he's killing off more of my... Well, it looks like at the beginning I'm kind of doing alright, but once he brings enough units into this battle, he's able to turn the tides pretty quickly. And now it looks like he's targeting my archers with his one remaining catapult. Or no, it looks like he's still targeting the stone tower. But his population is just so far ahead of mine at this point that that he's able to, yeah, he was able to take out my cav with his spearmen. And I'm pretty sure I was looking at the kill-death ratio, and I pretty much decided to resign pretty soon after this. And he has built a fortress, further fortifying his position on this front line here. And he has so many soldiers back here, he didn't even really need to bring in his full force to kind of win this battle. He has tons of cav over here. He's now up to 33, or no, yeah, he's up to 33 cavalry. I only have 17, and his infantry are more than double what I have, almost triple at this point. So yeah, he's really good at booming his economy. That's like, I was worried he would raid me. I was actually really worried that when I played Jim, which was actually after this game, I was worried that Jim has watched enough of my videos that he knows that I build like so many women at the beginning that he would raid me at the beginning, but neither of them ended up raiding me, which was really good for me in the game with Jim, but for this game it really didn't make much of a difference. Yeah, pretty much as soon as I saw that elephant hero coming, I decided to resign soon after. So this was really cool. I got to play against one of my favorite 0AD YouTubers, or two of my favorite 0AD YouTubers in one morning, and yeah, I thought I would show you guys how it went. Yeah, his ego score was like way ahead of mine because Tom is just really, really freaking good at booming in 0AD. And yeah, he was steadily ahead of me through pretty much the whole game. I think making that expansion really helped him, and yeah, not much to say about it, but definitely go subscribe to Tom 0AD on YouTube. He's been making 0AD videos in large amounts for a couple of years now, and he's really amazing. Definitely go follow Jim's channel too, 0AD Newbie Rush. And yeah, it was great sharing these two games with you guys. And make sure to like and subscribe if you want to see more videos. And thank you guys so much.